All right, welcome to the Sweet Talk. Today is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019. I am your host, Kim Matina, and I am a Google certified trainer, a gold product expert, and a technology teacher. And today I have on my show Miss Suzana, right? Suzana
Yes.
Summers, right? Sorry. And she is an ed tech administrator, coach, and a Google certified innovator. And who wants to make everyone's life easy, especially instructional coaches? Who doesn't want to have an easier life, right? So today, Suzana is going to talk about her innovator project from last year, LAX 18, right? And which was Connecthub. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about it. So why don't you introduce yourself, talk about it, and let's hear what it is.
Thanks for having me, Kim. I'm excited to join you.
Yeah, thanks for being on. I always like connecting to people, especially other innovators, Google certified innovators, because that's something that I want to aspire to be. That's a goal of mine. So I'm always curious to see how others had applied and what their project was. So I'm glad that you're on today to share and hopefully pay it forward to help other educators and instructional coaches as well.
Yeah. So a brief background on me. I started off as an elementary teacher. I taught third grade and then looped up to fourth my last year. When I moved to Boston, I became a tech specialist for a school and really did everything. I was supporting educators. I was also the IT support. The Chromebook got destroyed in the classroom and now I get to fix it, and supporting the network. I kind of did everything. Then I moved to a public school as their director of administrative tech or academic technology. And I was a team of one supporting an entire district with technology integration. And I was over my head.
That's crazy.
And what I found was not only coming into an entire district as a team of one, but I was so overwhelmed keeping track of everything I was doing. I am a neat freak. I love organization. I'm one of those people that just loves to on the weekend find cool new ways to be organized. But there was nothing to make my life easier in terms of keeping track of all of the meetings I was having with different teachers and administrators and coaches and specialists throughout the whole district. On top of that, I am also a data nerd. I'm obsessed with data all the way from the instructional world to my personal world. I like to track data on different reality TV shows and other stuff like that. And I was always interested on getting data on my job. I, as a classroom teacher, had data on my students, and we had state testing data. We had our own district testing data, my own data I was taking in the classroom. But when it came to my job supporting educators, I didn't have anything. So fast forward to last year, I found the Google certification program, and I became a Google certified educator level 1 and 2, and decided to take a whack at becoming a Google innovator. So if anybody hasn't heard of the Google certified innovator program before, you apply with a problem that you're passionate about in education and that you want to solve. And it's really anything. It's anything from something that impacts you in your day-to-day life to big problems in education. So I applied with how can we better support educators when they vary greatly with their experience and comfort level with technology. So I got into the LAX 18 cohort and ended up creating Connecthub. So connecthub.io, it is essentially, for anybody who hasn't seen it before, it's like an SIS, so whatever SIS you use in your district, but for tech coaches. So you mass upload all of your teachers, so you have a database right there off the bat. Each teacher gets a profile where you can keep track of your work with them. So gone are all of the disorganized Google Docs that you're sharing and can't keep track of because you have hundreds of educators. And you can also keep track of your data. Not only where are you, how many buildings are you supporting, what are you doing, but also measure your educator growth based on your work with them.
So, okay, so that's okay. I'm totally hooked because I mean, being a technology teacher, I was a technology coach for many years, and I just feel like if you have that title, technology integrator, coach, specialist, whatever, you are supposed to know everything. You are the jack of all trades, master of none person. And like you said, fixing Chromebooks, handle a network, accounts, policies, it doesn't end. And helping teachers integrate tech in the classroom, which to me is more important, or just as important as making network decisions and policies to keep staff and students safe. So it's really hard to balance everything. So when you create this platform, what kind of information are you tracking?
Yeah. So
Because there's such a um, broad area that you're tracking. It's not like you're tracking teacher growth. You're tracking everything. So like, how did you make that distinction?
yeah, so I looked at what I was originally doing in my previous district before I created this. So I had this very messy spreadsheet that I kept track of everything that I did. I tried at first on my calendar, and then I realized I couldn't export that or anything similar to that. And I went through and I looked at what were the big categories of what I was doing. And in discussions with other tech directors and tech coaches, or slap the label of whatever your role is, what we found is that every district is different and every role is different. So in creating Connecthub, I tried to make it as customizable as possible, just because all of our roles are different. So you can set up interactions, and I'm actually happy to share my screen if it's easier to see it.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Process. Can you see okay?
Okay, let me add it. Hold on. Okay.
So when you log in, you get your dashboard. But specifically to what we're talking about, you upload all of your educators. So you have a list of them. You can also look them up. So you don't have to look through the database. So I'm going to use Clark Kent here. And when I go to his profile, I can add an interaction, and I can also see anything I've done with him previously. Now, when it comes to what I'm doing, this is where you can actually get really customizable. So I've set up for my district these types of interactions. So the main things that we're doing are coaching sessions, meetings, activities, and introductions. Introductions are big at the beginning of the year to go around, the walkthroughs with the teachers, check-ins. But you can actually customize this as much as you'd like. So you can come here, and let's say you also do technical support. So you can call this IT or something, and you can add an action phrase for your data. Technical support. Oh, IT support. Here we go. And now when I go work, let's say I'm doing something specific to this educator. So it was today at 8 a.m. for about half an hour. I did some IT support, so I fixed their projector and a few student Chromebooks. And when I'm done with this, I can send a copy to the educator. This is great for coaching sessions or any meetings that you want to share your notes, but also any resources. Or I can just save it. And not only is it added to their profile, so gone are the days of having to go back through your emails to figure out what you did with them 4 months ago, and it's totally off of your brain, and who wants to search through their emails to find something that far back, to also now having data on what you're doing. So now that I've added this interaction type, I can see that I've done half an hour and just some trending topics and some other data that has been taken on that educator.
And that's interesting, because I know, like in New Jersey, educators in public schools have to do SGOs, student growth objectives. And My role in my previous school district as being a tech integrator, I did my SGO on teacher growth, on where they were in the beginning of the year and, you know, where they ended up. So this tool would have been like a really valuable piece of application for me to use at my previous district, because it would show educator growth and all of the things that I did with them, all of the notes and interactions that I had would be right here.
And what I found is, you know, you go to conferences or different conventions and you see all of these sessions on how to track data on instructional coaching, and it's these complicated Google forms that feed to a spreadsheet, and then you make all these graphs based off of it. But what I found was it was a nuisance to keep up with it. It didn't benefit me to track it until I needed the data. But what I found was, through setting this up, this is a two-sided approach where it's helping me with the data, but it's also helping my memory, because if I input those interactions, it's going to help me remember in the future. So I can remember, especially when you're new to a district and you don't know everyone's names or what you did with them previously, or if you just want to add a basic note like daughter's going to college this fall, so you don't forget when fall comes around that their daughter went to college, and you can help build that personal connection. It helped my memory, so I wanted to keep up with it more than a Google form that I could keep track of it and go to a spreadsheet where it was hard to find it later on.
Yeah, and I like the interface because it's clean and it has everything about the educator right there on the screen. So it's like you have a quick reference and then you can dive deep into it, right? That's what the impression that I'm getting.
Yeah, and there's a big update coming in the next 2 weeks that will actually be a whole coaching cycle tool. We're also working on adding some Google integration so it can sync to your calendar. We've introduced tasks, because rarely do you leave a classroom working with an educator without something you have to do afterwards. So you can easily just add a to-do, and then it's on your main dashboard so you don't forget. And some other really cool integrations.
So can you export the data out from here? So if I was working with a specific, like Clark Kent, if I was working with him, I had to show growth. I have to show proof of that growth in my SGO for the end of the school year. So I always have to have some type of spreadsheet with data on it. Is there a way that I can export that information from here?
So 2 options. You can export it, well, I guess 3. You can export it to a CSV, but we are actually adding some new features in the next 2 weeks as well, including principal access. So there will be a way to add under coaches, but you can also add a principal account, and principals will only be able to see your engagement dashboard. So can you actually see that I switched screens now?
Yeah.
So this engagement dashboard can give you share this with your principal. So the principal access will not be able to see any of the interactions with your educator. So it keeps that coach and educator relationship confidential, but they can get access to the data on instructional coaching in their buildings.
All right. Can you say that again? Because your audio went out.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sorry.
So we're going to be adding a new account type. So not only a coach account type, but also principals. So principals can have access to just this analytics dashboard on all the data on instructional coaching in their buildings, like what are the different interactions that are happening. So instructional coaching, meetings, notes, activities, but they can also see the number of hours in each building, different trending subjects, and also how are your hours being spent, what days are busier, or one of my favorites as an ed tech administrator, when standardized testing comes around, I'm not working with educators, and you can see that in my timeline, how there's gaps then.
You're not the only one. So that's great, because like right now, I put everything in my Google Calendar. And that's how I keep
I
track.
live off my calendar.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have my calendar, I'm lost. So um, I schedule like I push in right now. I push into all subjects. So my calendar is like my lifeline. So I just schedule it in there, and then the teachers can see my calendar. My calendar is public, so they know when I'm available and not. But this application would just be visible just to me, right?
Yes.
The other teachers wouldn't need to see this at all.
Correct. But whenever you do tag one of those interactions, so you go to one of the educators' pages to add notes on a meeting, you can always check off share with the teacher, and they'll get a copy via email for their records on not only your notes, but what time you met and for how long, in case they want to use that for any professional evaluation.
Now, what about Google Calendar? Is that going to be an integration with Google Calendar in here?
Yes. So we're working on that, not only to pull when your meetings were to your Google Calendar, but also to create a scheduling feature. So, we're always, especially whenever you're in multiple buildings, it can be a hassle to schedule time. So something that can integrate with your calendar on your availability, but also on helping with scheduling based on like, when you have a 30-minute meeting, but you're going to need 15 minutes afterwards to get to the next building.
Right. So
Stuff like
yeah,
that.
stuff like that. But this like right now with my workflow is like I have a Google form. Teachers fill out the Google form, tell me, what kind of lesson they're looking for, time period and all that. And then I get a notification. And then at that point, I then interact with the teacher and follow up with what their need is. Would this application handle something like that as well, or is that not even in an option?
It's not an option yet.
Okay. But if it
So
looks like it's the way you're smiling, it might be some kind of future update.
that, and then also another big feature that we're hoping for the spring is survey feedback. So a lot of times after a coaching cycle, or if you're doing a team meeting, you want to send a form to get feedback on your support, and be able to get data on that. So that is also in the works.
So what about so what if okay, so you said there was like a tech coach or a tech integrator in each building.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that one tech coach can access the other tech coach's activity to see like what they're doing in their building so that they don't so when the kids move up to the higher grades, they do something new or different?
Yeah, so a feature that if you are a district account, and you share a database of educators, is being able to turn on and off privacy of coaches interactions. So some districts really want to, if your building has a literacy coach and a tech coach, be able to see each other's notes on the same teacher. So if a literacy coach is talking about student engagement in literacy centers, a tech coach can see that and make different suggestions based on that note. But on the flip side, some districts want those coaching relationships to really be private between just the coach and the educator. So the district administrator can turn that feature on and off.
Okay, because I would think that would be helpful only because sometimes you have to use all of your resources and go to other people to to try to get the best the best tech lesson, or try to make the lesson step it up a little bit and try to make it more engaging. So I would think that would be an option. To me, I would think that would be helpful because we all are on the same team. And we want to try to integrate as best as we can. So to me, that would just be an asset for me. And like I know at like my district, I'm in the middle school, so I'm in the 7th, 8th grade building, and the elementary schools, they have each tech teacher is in their own building, and they do a nice job with integrating tech and different projects. across the buildings so that each building has the similar experience. You know what I mean? And then when they come to me, well, I don't want to go over Minecraft. I want to do something different because they did that in the elementary school. So that's the part where I'm saying like the collaboration piece would be nice to be able to see that grid or those interactions to see where what they did and where they left off so I can kind of step it up and continue in the middle school.
Yeah, definitely important. And what I found is in those meetings where you spend time with different coaches or with educators to get not only feedback on students but on the work that's being done, you lose so much time just getting caught up on things. And that's what I wanted to outsource with the technology was the piece where you have to get everyone up to date, and then you can have those powerful conversations. With this tool now, you can know what's going on in other buildings and with other teachers. And then when you meet with other instructional coaches, you can instead talk about things on a much deeper level rather than just catching up.
Yeah, because like, right now you're either sharing a Google sheet or you're in team drives or whatever, and everything is shared in there and it's scattered like you're still working in multiple files. It's not like you're working in one application.
Yeah.
This to me, this is a godsend. Like this would be a great asset for me right now. And I know in the past I could have definitely used something like this as well. So now tell me about the application. Is it a free subscription or is it I'm assuming it's web based. So what are some of the requirements that you need to run the program?
So right
And
now
is it free?
oh, sorry.
Oh, and is it free? Is it premium features or is it free?
So right now it runs on desktop, but also on mobile. If you have Safari or Chrome on your phone, it's mobile compatible. So there's no app yet for it. But if you load it on your phone, I use an iPhone and I use on Safari, you can book or you can bookmark a website as a home screen icon.
Mm-hmm.
So that just takes you straight to the website from that icon, like an app. Right now, it is not a free tool. So I am a team of one and do not know how to code something like this from scratch, though I am learning. So I've had to hire a developer who's helping me build it. And basically, since about December last year, I've been going through designing it and running it by different tech coaches for feedback and then going to development. That being said, as an ed tech director now, I understand how frustrating it can be when it seems like tools are way overpriced based on what you're getting. And seeing, going to conferences and seeing these big ed tech companies throwing these parties and whatnot. And it's like, oh, well, you're charging us so much for these. So definitely trying to keep it at a price that's just enough so we can keep building features, but keeping it reasonable, understanding that we are educators and we are not the private sector. We're not, drowning in money.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad that you mentioned all that because it's important. So, okay, so like the application will run on a Chromebook, correct?
Yes, it runs on it just any online website. It's nothing fancy. You don't need Flash. You don't need JavaScript. It's just a basic website. And it works. It's pretty quick. All you have to do is just go to connecthub.io and log in, and you can go straight to any staff and also via mobile. We definitely want to work on an app soon, and also some Gmail integration based on some feedback that we've gotten, being able to tag interactions directly from your email. But all of those we are currently in development trying to build.
I think it's a wonderful tool, and I think that it does address a lot of the needs for tech coaches or instructional coaches. I really think that the interface is nice and clean. It's easy. Everything is organized right in the dashboard, and then in each profile. I mean, I just saw a brief screen share different areas of it, and I was impressed with it. So good job. I mean, you guys are doing a really great job, and I know like it would definitely be a productive tool and an asset for any tech coach. And that's, if you're not a tech coach, you won't understand, or any instructional coach, because you're being pulled in all different directions, and it seems like this tool can just have everything all in one place, and everything can just be organized within your building, your category, or your profile, or your educator profile. So it seems to be really a productive tool. So I'd be really I'd be interested in demoing it and checking it out, and maybe giving you some feedback.
Of course. And anybody who's interested too, you can use it for free for 1 month right now. So anybody can get started. And on the topic of, really be able to explain this to people, what I like to tell different principals and people who aren't instructional coaches is, imagine if we had a school district without an SIS to manage all of our student data. That's us tech coaches right now.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah. I mean, and on top of all that, you're dealing with, like you said, like different applications that the school uses, and it's overwhelming. Yeah. And if you just don't have a balance on it, it can really alter one's direction or path in the education field. So it's a nice application. It looks like it'll be really it'll be a really good tool to use. I'm interested in demoing it.
Yeah.
That'll be really cool. I can definitely give you feedback if you'd let me demo it.
Oh, I'd love feedback.
So I can connect this. I can sign in with my school Google account and connect it with that, or do I have to actually?
Coming soon. You'll sign up, and you can, if you forget your password, you can always do forgot password. And at the bottom of any page, you can also submit feedback. There's a feedback request, and those go straight to myself and the developer. So if there's ever anything wrong, it's going straight to me, and we are getting to work fixing it. And any requests, we're putting that on our board to try to develop.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me check it out, and I'll give you feedback. And then, you never know, maybe I can help you out. You can help me organize myself a little bit more at school with keeping track of what my tasks are, and I can help you give you feedback too.
Great.
So I'll pay it forward, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate you being on today. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thanks for having me.
What I'm going to do real quick is share my screen, and we are going to wrap up the show. So again, I'm using StreamYard, and I am totally loving this tool. So if you'd like to check out the Sweet Talk, you can go to thesweettalk.com. That's the SUITE talk.com. And on the homepage, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, join my Facebook group, subscribe to the newsletter, and find the Sweet Talk on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, and Google Podcasts. And if you would like to be a guest on my show, go down to the guest inquiry section and fill out the guest form, and I will email you as soon as I can. There's quick links here. There's the schedule here to see who will be on in the future. And if you would like to see any past episodes, you can go to the episode and podcast list, and you can see all of the past show notes and episodes here as well. And with that said, I'm going to come back to you. Well, thanks again for being on. I really appreciate it. It was great meeting you, and I wish you the best of luck with this, because I really see that there's a lot of potential that can help others in our field. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks again for having me, and I can't wait to hear when you get into Google Innovator yourself.
Oh, I hope so one day. Oh, thanks, Suzana. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
Bye.